Good morning and welcome to Channel Sport this morning. Many thanks for joining us again. I am Tayo Salam.
A very good morning to you from wherever you're watching us this morning. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Well, of course, in the world of sport, there's always a lot to talk about. So let's
Absolutely.
dive straight into it. Let's start you off with the UEFA Champions League. It was a feast of football yesterday. But guess what? This one topped the charts. Real Madrid fighting back after 2 goals down in Germany against Borussia Mönchengladbach. It was a fight back that surprised a lot of people, and they were even close to winning that game in Germany.
Real fight back indeed for Real Madrid. Karim Benzema and Casemiro scoring 2 late goals to rescue a point in Germany. Also on the show, we're going to Spain this time around, where Barcelona president Bartomeu has resigned, as Joseph Bartomeu has resigned ahead of an expected vote of no confidence next month.
All right, so no surprises there. A few days ago, he was saying he wasn't going to resign.
Yeah.
But
Right
very few people survive a vote of no confidence, and he probably knew what the outcome, especially when the Catalan province didn't agree to shift the date for that vote of no confidence, so he knew it was always going to happen.
Writing was always on the wall.
It was always on the wall. So he handed in his resignation letter and, of course, moved on. All right, so let's go to the United States and talk about this man. A lot of us thought, well, he was going to be the next Usain Bolt, and he showed the signs, but now 100 meters champion Christian Coleman will miss next year's Tokyo Olympics after being banned for 2 years from breaching whereabouts rules. I think 2 or 3 missed drug tests, and the integrity unit, that's AIU, said Coleman, who narrowly escaped the ban last year for missing 3 doping tests, was provisionally suspended, and now everything ratified. I always knew he wasn't going to dig his way out of this.
Yeah, it was always going to be tough. It's such a shame that such an accomplished athlete like Christian Coleman has found himself in this position, but that's what it is now. He's going to have to deal with it, and he's going to have to deal with it by either accepting the ban or going to CAS to appeal it. But as it is right now, the world 100 meters champion is set to miss the Olympics next year because of this particular ban. Like Yemi said, missed 3 drugs tests, and according to the anti-doping rules, that's a violation, and that's why it's now being banned for 2 years. For Christian Coleman and every other elite athletes out there, they should never find themselves in this kind of position. Unfortunately for Coleman, he's going to have to pay unless somehow he manages to succeed with his appeal at CAS. As reps have already said, they will be doing just that. They've got 30 days to file that appeal, and hopefully they'll be hoping they can overturn that ban. But it's looking very, very unlikely for Christian Coleman to go to the Olympics and perhaps, just carry on from where Usain Bolt stopped last time out. This guy went to the World Championships last year in Qatar, and it was the star of the show. Lived up to expectations, and it's unfortunate he's had to find himself in this position now. That reminds me of Sawa Eid Nassar as well, the 400 meters champion, the Nigerian who races for Bahrain. She was banned provisionally as well, but she somehow managed to get lucky.
Clawed her way back.
Yeah, clawed her way back, and no charges. The charges were eventually dropped for the same issue, whereabouts violations. I mean, how hard can it be to make yourself available
randomly
for doping, anti-doping officials? I don't think it should be that complicated.
I don't think so. But he has, going by what you said, his reps have a big task on their hand to explain how and to make CAS agree with them that it wasn't deliberate. It's tough.
It's a tough one because it was banned provisionally. Then there was a tribunal as well, to which eventually confirmed that it's banned now. So we'll see. Fingers crossed for Christian Coleman. We'll see whether he will be able to overturn that 2-year ban and proceed to the Tokyo 2020 Olympics next
All
year.
right, let's quickly come home and talk about something happening here at home. Just some house cleaning,
Yeah,
because
well,
you might wonder that some changes into it, and of course you would begin to see some of those changes. Let's talk about Nigerian national teams. Talk about the Super Eagles and the Super
the
Falcons.
Falcons.
Both teams now have new media officers, and just in case you see us talking to a media officer, what happened? What happened? The NFF just announced that there's been a change, and Babafemi Raji, the guy in your picture, is the new Super Eagles media officer, and the lady a lot of us call Tobex, also the new Super Falcons media officer. And trust me, in times to come, we will be hearing from these
Of
two.
course.
They will be giving us information and letting us know what is happening with our beloved national teams, talking about the Super Eagles and the Super Falcons. So we just needed to bring that to you, just in
Yep,
case
just an
you
update.
didn't know, and you see us talking
Yeah.
to these two influential
Just-
figures, so you know.
Just in case next time the Eagles are about to play and you're looking forward to seeing us talking to Tony Bitoye.
No, it's not going to
This
happen.
guy's changed
There's a
now.
shift.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that's just that piece of
Yeah,
news.
it's going to break down, Cecily. Yemi?
Yeah. All right. So let's just go on that break, and when we return, still so much for you. Sports this morning. All right, welcome back. We've got to that point where we like to bring you into the show. You're an integral part of this show. We want to make it conversational as much as possible. Let's talk about all the things we've been talking about. We've talked about Christian Coleman on the show this morning. We've talked about the changes in the national team, talking about the media offices. We talk about tennis, Vienna Open, Novak Djokovic, Dominic team. We'll be talking about the night of football in the UEFA Champions League, what happened last night, what to expect this evening. Just in case you're joining us for the first time, you can tweet at us, @channels_sports is our verified handle, very active. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's know what you feel about all the amazing things happening in the fast-paced world of sports. You can also send us a mail, sportsismore@channelstv.com. Send us that mail. Let us know how you feel about all of this issue. Perhaps there's something you want us to be talking about that we're missing out.
I believe a lot of Barcelona fans will have a lot to say about the resignation of Josep Bartomeu. With his resignation now, I believe Lionel Messi will stay at Barcelona, since his issues has always been with Bartomeu, as well as the board of directors have now all stepped down.
All right, so that's it. So we go straight to
the Champions League.
The UEFA Champions League. Our friend Biola Kazim is waiting in the wings to join us. But before we bring him on, let's just quickly take a look at the results from last night, and we'll get his opinion on that. I'll also do a preview of the games. So there you have it. Lokomotiv Moscow and Bayern. Bayern were able to hold out for a victory in Moscow, 2-1 in favor of Bayern. Atletico Madrid and Salzburg, 3-2 in favor of the Spaniards. Atletico edging that one.
João Felix,
Yep.
2 goals in there.
Yep. Shakhtar Donetsk and Inter Milan was a goalless draw in that
Should have
one.
been Inter winning comfortably.
Yes, yes.
With how
yes.
dominant they were.
Exactly.
Yeah, couldn't take the chances.
all.
Lukaku, Martinez are missing
A lot of them.
gilded opportunities.
They have Borussia Mönchengladbach just celebrating already, thinking Thuram's son getting 2 goals for them. But Real Madrid, what a fight back, 2-2. He ended FC Porto against Olympiacos. Portuguese Giants were able to win that game 2-0. Marseille and Manchester City turned out to be a one-sided affair.
Anticlimax.
And we're thinking something was going to happen, but they won. So
So-
Atalanta and Ajax was a 2-2 draw, and Liverpool and Midtjylland was a 2-0 victory. But first half, my heart was in my mouth for Liverpool. I thought the Danish side defended well and had a couple of chances, and Alisson was in his elements in that one.
Yeah, you can say that again. It was a laboured win for Liverpool, just like on match day 1. But in this kind of situations, 3 points is all that matters. They've got 6 on board now, looking very good to qualifying for the knockout stage.
All right, so let's bring in Biola Kazim. Biola, good morning. It's nice to have you join us today. There's a lot to talk about, but first, let me say good morning and thanks again for joining us.
Good morning, Yemi. Good morning, viewers. Great to be here.
All right, so I don't know which one jumps at you. Here we thought Manchester City and Marseille was going to be the game to look out for, but it did turn out to be an anticlimax. Easy win for City. But I don't know which of the matches yesterday light up your space.
Probably has to be the Atletico Madrid game. I mean, they went ahead and then fell behind. Their season has been sort of like, topsy-turvy, and you probably will have thought that maybe this will be one of those games where, they just might go on, to drop points. And ultimately, you are Felix, a young man who they bought for a lot of money, I think over 100 million euros, the most expensive teenager ever. Stepped up to the plate. He's had his first season at Atletico didn't go exactly as planned. Started really well, and then went through a bit of a dip in form. Some will say expectedly, but games like these, where you come to the fore, you get a point, 3 huge points in a game where they were behind, and the kind of games that build confidence and can put you in that frame of mind where you can go on and be as impactful as the club thought when they're paying all of that money, for you. I'd also say that the Real Madrid Gladbach game as well, was an interesting. In fact, that whole group is an interesting one because you'll have thought that Inter and Madrid, after 2 games, will have seized control of that group. What we are seeing actually is that Shakhtar and Gladbach are the ones who are maybe not necessarily seizing control of that group, but they are the ones ahead. Which in some way means that the Inter Real Madrid double header is going to be cracking because I mean, if either side loses maybe as much as even one of those games, they could be knocked out of the Champions League in the group phase. So that game also was interesting. Manchester City, Marseille, potentially, it was a kind of game where if Marseille were going to dominate, then you probably will expect City to play badly. It was kind of game where City are still a formidable, strong side. Yes, over the past year, their form has fallen off a bit. They've lost the air of visibility. Certainly, the assertiveness and you say the bloody-mindedness in their game, has waned a little bit, but they are still a really, really good side. And you will expect that against teams like Marseille and not necessarily smaller side, but apart from the big sides, the teams below them, if they play as well as they can play, they probably will win. So I thought that, yes, the game was the kind of game where, like I said, if they don't play well, Marseille could shock them. But once they play well, they were always going to smooth out Marseille, with their quality. So that game, in terms of the result, maybe nobody will have expected it 3-0. But again, knowing City and how well they can attack and how well they can score goals also is not a big surprise. So for me, the game of the night will be the Atletico game, as well as the Real Madrid game. For the sheer drama of that game, I mean, Atletico, 2-0 up, Lilian Thuram's son, who a lot of us, his father, a lot of us watching when we were young boys. So to see his son, make such a big impact on such a big stage was great to see. And you wanted them a bit of way to escape with 3 points. But the big sides are always the big sides for a big reason and for a good reason. And it is in games like this that, eventually, every once in a while, they will respond to the challenge. Ultimately, it took a last-minute goal by Casemiro. It looks like the kind of goal that Clashback can go on to rule, conceding. But, things are still very live in that group. I just like the setup of the group in the sense that you'll have thought that Inter Real will be, comfortable after
First
playing
and
those
second.
2 sides initially. But that's not the case.
Yeah, Inter and Real Madrid right now 3rd and 4th in that group featuring Shakhtar.
And they have to play each other next 2 times.
There you go. So it promises to be very exciting game. Indeed, we'll come back to you, Biola, in a bit. Let's take the post-match thoughts of Pep Guardiola after yesterday's victory in France. 6 points from 2 games for Manchester City in that group. Ferran Torres, Raheem Sterling, Ike, Gundogan scoring the goals for City in that victory. Biola, let's touch on Group D now. That's another very exciting group, you'd say. Atlanta versus Ajax. Ajax looking good for the win for long period. Somehow, Zapata was able to get 2 goals to secure a point for them. There's also Liverpool versus Michelin. Your thoughts on these 2 games?
Atlanta are a really, really good side. We all saw them last season. We saw them as well in the Champions League bubble, where ultimately They got knocked out, but they were really, really They are a really watchable side. They are one of the sides I tell people to just look out for on a Saturday afternoon. If you are a little bit bored, none of the big games are on, just take a look at Atlanta. You will enjoy yourself. So I'm not surprised, that they got to the Champions League. I think it was quarterfinals last season, and they didn't look out of place. So I always felt like this season, they might necessarily make a splash because they've lost a couple of the key components of that team. But the coaching philosophy, ingrained, by Gasparini is something that the side have internalized. And you see their expression in literally every game, even when they do not win. You see their commitment to that ideal. So they will worry, a few teams. For Liverpool, it was they won and they lost. They won in the sense that they got 3 points. They lost in the sense that they lost one more centre back. And the centre back position is an extremely crucial position for them, particularly given how they play. They have fullbacks that push up really high. And a lot of their build-up play, comes directly from the ball-playing abilities of their centre-back. It could be Fabinho and Van Dijk. It could be Van Dijk and Gomez. They are ball-playing centre-back. They lost Fabinho. Fabinho also has a utility, advantage in the sense that he can play multiple positions without quality, dropping at all. So even though they took all 3 points on, it's the kind of injury that would worry the manager, because it does look like it's an hamstring injury, and if it is an hamstring injury, we easily could be looking at a month, possibly 2. It is a full year out for Liverpool. Given that they lost Van Dijk, do not in any way downplay the impact of that kind of injury. I say to people that even the best managers in the world, with the best squads in the world, can have their entire season destroyed by a couple of injuries to key players. And it's looking like Liverpool's biggest opponent this season will not be any of the sides that they face, but fitness. Some will say, maybe given a couple of years that they've had playing at such a high level, at such a high intensity, and going on to win, eventually, bodies will start to creak, and maybe this could be it, for them. So that's a big worry for club. I think he will be more worried about the loss of Fabinho than the expected 3 points they were always going to get against Midtjylland.
Yeah. Too bad. More injury troubles for Liverpool. They're going to have to find a way around this in the coming weeks. Let's come to today. Biola, a lot of games, very interesting matches to be played as well. Obviously, the star matches between Juventus and Barcelona. Unfortunately, we're not going to get to see Cristiano Ronaldo in action in that game because of COVID and such a sad miss for Juve. There are other games as well too, Biola, but let's focus on Juve versus Barcelona. Barcelona on the back of losing El Clasico, Juve on the back of drawing when they were supposed to win over the weekend. Not going exactly great under Andrea Pirlo.
Yeah, fantastic point you made, about both teams not exactly in, sparkling form. They are not anywhere near the shape and form that you expect of, both big sides in their domestic league. The El Clasico was quite close, but ultimately you would say that Real Madrid deserved their victory. There was a bit of, and I think that this could be a small factor for Barcelona, given that Bartomeu and the entire board, resigned. You could see that the team and the board, were at odds. I always say to people that when you see teams get successful, it's usually a reflection of a straight line of alignment of purpose, some level of unity from the entire structure, from the structure at the top to the team, and also it takes a state of harmony for a team to be really, really dominant. And I think that Barcelona over the past 2 years that has fractured badly, and we have seen it spill over. They've had 2 managers. This is their 3rd manager within a year. Valverde brought it here, it didn't work, fired him. We've had all sorts of upheaval. So I think that dislocation has really, really spilled onto the pitch, and there was a potential that this season could go on to be an even bigger disaster, than last year. And so in Bartomeu and the board resigning could actually play a role in this game, because the squad probably could now feel like this is a breath of fresh air, what we've always wanted. Messi has not, hidden his distrust and some would even say disdain, for Bartomeu, and his gang of directors. And so he could, and the team, like I said, could come into the game feeling a little bit relieved and feeling a renewed sense of, purpose. And, that could have an impact on this game. For Andrea Pirlo, his baptism of fire, right? His first job in a big club, and, he's taking on the I mean, I wanted to use the word enormous challenge of taking on Barcelona, but we need to be accurate. Barcelona are not anything close to what they used to be. But like I
Right.
said, with the small issue of Bartomeu retire, and the board leaving yesterday, it is entirely possible that we'll see a Barcelona play with a renewed sense of vigor, a renewed sense of purpose. And if Messi plays anywhere his true capacity, I dare say that Juventus, are in trouble tonight. There will have been a small subplot of mercy, against Ronaldo. That will have been really, really good to see.
Yeah.
And hopefully when they play, the second time, Ronaldo should be back. But it also should be said that we've seen over the past 2 years that even though they are still hitting, really great heights, the reality of the matter is that Messi and Ronaldo are getting older and their efficacy is, in some way expectedly, starting to dwindle. And so even if Ronaldo were fit, that subplot of both of them, sometimes, in fact, when they go head to head, it is the main plot, and then their clubs is the subplot. He's starting to lose his edge, so to speak.
Okay. All right, Biola. Let's go Manchester United. They have a game tonight, and I don't know how you feel. I don't know how people see it against Leipzig. In spite of all the things you've said about United, you would still expect United to get a decent result.
Oh, yes, you're right. You will expect United to get a decent result. I think that, Leipzig caught the eye, last season. You probably say Liverpool light, played with a lot of energy, a lot of intensity. They press like they were on drugs. And I think that's something that United have to pay attention to. United's build-up is quite predictable. I think, personally, among all the big clubs in the world, I think United's pressing. And look, the big sides is uniform across all of them. They all press really well, and their build-up is varied, of a very high level. United's build-up is extremely basic, and the pressing as well, you can see, is uncoordinated. If Leipzig press anywhere as close to how well we know that they can press, I think United, we have a tough game, on their hands. I think that what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has really struggled with United is to even out performances. What we've seen with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer are spells of seeming excellence, back-ended by another long spell of frightening mediocrity, given the quality of players, that he has. Big clubs are about being predictable. If you start to have, unpredictable form, so to speak, you start to, in some way, teams will come to you feeling like, oh, if you catch them on a bad day, we'll win. If you catch them on a bad day. So I think that potentially it can be a tough game for United. But you made a brilliant point at the beginning that no matter how eye-catching Leipzig are, no matter how, fantastic they play, United versus Leipzig on the table, you will always expect Manchester United, at least minimum, not to lose. And so that is a pressure that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will go into this. The good thing, though, is that United won away in Paris. And so Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can look at this and say, even if you get a draw out of this, it is still a great result. Because if you go to Paris and get 3 points, honestly, that's a bonus 3 points. If they get 3 points against Leipzig, they are well on their way, to play in the second round. So I think that maybe going into that game knowing full well that we necessarily do not have to get all 3 points, can get United in the right frame of mind to embrace the game, play as well as they can play. And usually when you embrace the game and you play as well as you can play, more often than not, the quality in the team will be able to smoother your opposition and you could get all 3 points.
All right, so just start by, let's listen to Manchester United manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, what he has to say ahead of that game. Well, all right, that's it. Ole Gunnar said, I mean, Ty, what else? What else can we say?
Yeah, I mean, it will be a disaster. I'm not exaggerating. If you go to Paris, get 3 points and come back home and lose to Leipzig. I mean, no disrespect to Leipzig, they're a very good side. I actually think they'll give United a run for their money today, and I won't be surprised if they get points. So, but for United, the pressure certainly is on them to getting all 3 points later tonight at Old Trafford. We need to go on a break now. We'll come back. We'll be looking at the papers. There's also the Donny van de Beek situation as well, to be getting the thoughts of Biola Kazim on that situation. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer right there. Just trying to let everyone know, Manchester United fans, especially that Donny van de Beek will get his opportunities to play for United this year. Biola, do you see, I mean, what's your take on this Donny van de Beek situation? Is it a conundrum? It can't seem to, get a start, can't buy a start at the minute. Big money signing, came with a lot of expectations, but it's not been the greatest of starts for him.
mean, so this is what happens at big clubs. When you join a big club, you do not take starting for granted, and you'll have to fight your way, into being a regular starter. And this is not the first time we've seen this situation happen, and this will certainly not be the last time. What happens is that some players embrace the challenge. And some players, will just, moan. So typically when things like this happen, a lot of it is dependent on the mind frame and the attitude of the player. If the player embraces as a challenge, doesn't have a sense of entitlement, then the player will work incredibly hard to get regular opportunities. And when they do get opportunities, they try to take. But if a player is petulant, and start to, throw tantrums, even if the coach's intentions are the best, it will become a toxic situation and ultimately impact form, and sometimes might spill over into the whole team. The reality of the matter is that United's performances, like I said, are not yet even. When a team is not yet even and the manager does not feel like they have their form and performances under control, managers really do not want to cause a lot of dislocation. And so you see Ole Gunnar Solskjaer play Fred, and McTominay, in back-to-back games. Totally possible that he might continue that for a couple of games just to get the team into some level of stability. When that does happen, then you can start to take out bits and parts and start to try, a few things. And I think that for a player who has a footballing education that Donny, has, I think that he will understand the situation and that he wasn't bought to come and be permanently sat, on the bench. It's just a moment in the team. If United have started the season in a lot better form than they have, I think that will have played more games. But when you are struggling to win games, when you are losing games badly, like we saw in game against Tottenham, you're going to see your manager react to a bit of caution. Just to get form going, just to get confidence flowing in the side, and then you start to make changes. So I think that communication is extremely important, and I think that the attitude, of the player to the situation, because it's just a situation, is nothing permanent. But some players, get a bit too excited, start to throw tantrums, just emotionally check out, and feel victimized, and then nothing is going to happen, because even when you check out emotionally, when you are put on the pitch, you are not going to perform well because you think you're a victim and you think you deserve better, and you feel entitled. So I think Donny will react to this situation and embrace the challenge and know full well that United are going to play 4 competitions this year, and eventually will get his opportunities. And if he does get his opportunities and he plays well, he will be starting. Paul Pogba right now is not starting.
Interesting indeed. Donny van de Beek will have to bide his time. The few times he's had the opportunity to play, he's done very well. Whenever the chance comes again, he's going to have to take it with both hands. Thank you very much for joining us on the show, Biola Kazim. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to join you guys.
All right. Enjoy. Cheers. All right, then. That's Biola Kazim, sports analyst, helping us to do a comprehensive preview of the matches that will be played in the UEFA Champions League later tonight. It's time to look at the papers. We're on the home stretch, and we have all 3 papers, Sports in Sun, Sports in Life, and Complete Sports.
Let's have Complete Sports race against time. Let's see if we can get it on the screen for you. Complete Sports, the midweek edition. Interesting stories. Statement attributed to Victor Osimhen. He says to play for Gattuso, a dream come true. That's what he's saying. Reviews Napoli were ready for Juve, if not for COVID-19. Of course, they been docked 3 points. Bartomeu resides as Barcelona president. We already talked about that. Cristiano Ronaldo still positive for COVID-19. There's a statement attributed to Lauren on Ozil, former Arsenal player, Cameroon legend, says Ozil's exile is his own fault. It'd be interesting to know which
details.
He's some sort of an insider, probably knows something we don't know. That would make an interesting read. Lauren Etame having his say on the Ozil situation.
I like the relationship blossoming between Gattuso and Osimhen as well too. I mean, it's just lovely to see. Just the 1 goal in the Serie A, but I want to believe
a lot of promise.
A lot of promise is shown. Apart from all-round promise as well, all-round play, which seems to impress Gattuso a lot. Let's move on from Complete Sports now. Let's go to Sports in Life and talk about. It's dominated by the UEFA Champions League. Of course, Ronaldo still has COVID, so he's going to miss tonight's match against his rival, eternal rival, Lionel Messi. Mbappe, that's against Istanbul. Mbappe said, we know how to react. They lost their first game. They can't afford to lose 2 games to start the UEFA Champions League this season. Silva, Kepa, stay home. That's ahead of Chelsea's trip to Krasnodar, that's in Russia, where they will play in their second game of the UEFA Champions League. Jota Salah strike as Real Madrid as Reds see off Danes. That was a game against Michelin for Liverpool. Let's come back home and talk about Nigeria versus Sierra Leone. That's the next AFCON qualifier. Leon Stars hit Benin November 10. So Leon Stars. I think we'll be fine against.
We should be.
Yeah,
Should be.
no disrespect. Battle against Sierra Leone. Gennett Roy is also talking as well. Royal to pick 25. Eagle Stars places 4 players on standby. Coach, assistants, monitoring players at the moment. What else? FIFA president, this one. Yeah, let's mention.
Testing positive for COVID-19.
Yeah, Infantino. Showing mild symptoms.
Yeah.
It's going to have to quarantine for a few days, and hopefully he can recover.
Still the same thing we say. I mean, COVID-19 has no respect for anybody.
And it's not gone.
It's not gone. Yeah,
still very much out there.
Let's not drop the ball. Let's not be careless. It's still here with us.
Yeah, a lot of people getting carried away. I see it everywhere I go. It's not just right. So we wish Gianni Infantino fullest, soonest recovery. Last paper of review is Sporting Sun. Igalo begs Ole, don't stop believing in me. Remember all that hype?
Yep.
Igalo going to his dream club, banging in a few goals. Seems distant memory now.
Like a dream.
Yeah, he can't even get on the bench these days.
Telling you.
Wow. It says, Ole, don't stop believing in me.
Like living in Germany, we're already.
Wow.
I didn't want it to end like this. I wanted him to leave
on a high.
On a high with a lot of goals.
Yeah.
And look, it's not about his ability. His ability is never in doubt, never in question.
Yep.
Whatever Ole is doing, probably don't understand, but and now that Cavani's here again.
It's a lot tougher now for Odion Igalo to get game time at Manchester United. Kimmich Stoner extends Bayern's winning run. Yeah, needed the goal from Josh Kimmich to get all 3 points in Russia against Lokomotiv. Ramos in bust up with Isco. Revealed Barcelona rejected Pogba Haaland. I'm not sure that's a wise decision, but we'll see. Pochettino on Zenit shortlist. This is a very, very strange link.
He's on every shortlist.
Okay.
He's on every
including Russia.
He's on Real Madrid, he's on Manchester United. And that will only stop if the man gets a job soon.
Yeah.
But once he's without a job,
yeah.
I mean,
expect the links to continue.
All right. So that's it. A wrap on the papers and as well a wrap on the show today. We do hope that you've enjoyed everything. We'll be back here again tomorrow to do what we love doing best, which is taking you on a trip across the money spinning and fast-paced world of sports. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye now.
I am Taya Salam. Enjoy the rest of your day.